think this is the second most important negotiating tactic to learn. Remember, number one was the perception of options gives you power in a negotiation. That's number one. Number two, in order to bracket, you've got to get the other person committed to a position first. You've got to get them saying, this is what we are willing to do. Then you can bracket that proposal so that if you end up in the middle, you get what you want. If they can get you to state your position first, then all they have to do is bracket that so that if you end up in the middle, as so often happens, they get what they want. I tell you what a lot of your salespeople are doing wrong. They're throwing numbers at the customers, hoping the customer will say yes to one of their numbers. That's not the way to negotiate. Our objective as negotiators is to get the other person to propose the number that we want them to propose. Then we will reluctantly agree to that suggestion, servicing the perception in their mind that they won in the negotiation. Do you all deal with RFPs, requests for proposal or requests for quotation? That's when the buyers go to all of the suppliers and say, this is what we're looking for, you make a proposal to us. That's a terrible negotiating position for the supplier to be in, because that's the buyer saying to you, you make a commitment to us, but we're not going to make any kind of commitment to you at all. It's a brilliant negotiating position for the buyers to be in. If I were training them, that's what I would tell them to do. Just go to every supplier, say this is what we're looking for, and let them fight over the price for you. Two thoughts go through a supplier's mind when you get an RFP or an RFQ. Thought number one is, this has gone to a lot of people. They wouldn't have gone to the trouble to do a written RFP if it hadn't gone to a lot of people. Therefore, I have a lot of competition. The buyer has a lot of options. Options give you power in a negotiation. Therefore, I have a very weak negotiating position. That may not be true at all. You may have been the only person that got that RFP, but it's not the perception you have. The perception you get is it's gone to a lot of people. The second thought that goes through your mind is this is going to be very competitive. They are going to go with the lowest price supplier that meets the criteria outlined in this RFP, which is absolute nonsense. Nobody would ever buy anything just based on price. Nobody. Would you go down to the hardware store and buy a nail if the only thing you knew about that nail was it was the cheapest nail on the planet? Of course you wouldn't. Nobody would ever buy anything just based on price. But it's a very good idea for the buyers to put that into your salespeople's mind. And some of them are very blunt about it. They say, yeah, I understand the history of your company. I understand the service. I understand the quality. You stand behind it. Oh, I know, that's great. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. I'm the buyer here. My job is to beat you up on price, and the only thing we're going to talk about is price. I mean, some of them are that blatant that they'll come out and say that to your salespeople, but all of them are implying it. But the truth of the matter is nobody would ever buy anything just based on price. Here's the number one mistake that I see beginning negotiators make. They